Margaret Kuhlman of Soul Astrology. This new moon is in Leo, the middle of Leo, making a trine aspect, that blue line, to Uranus in Aries, and not really connecting very much to anything else. A slight quincunx perhaps to Chiron. So there is a sense of the purpose of the month being to be oneself, absolutely express one's own truth, heart on the sleeve and all that, to be free, independent of other people, pressures, life's requirements, just to discover and be oneself. And the rest of the chart, which is that beautiful kite shape that we've been having for the last month or two, almost as though we're being challenged to be ourselves in spite of the enormous emotional scene of the moment. The big triangle is in water. It's about our sensitivity, our empathy, our needs, the caring that we need to do for ourselves, but also the caring that is required in the world from us. With Saturn so close to the North Node, it's as though taking up that responsibility to life, to the world, to our surroundings, being responsible for our own emotional field is the most important thing. So perhaps this month is about finding out what the truth of ourself really is. Not just being that, but by being that, discovering what is true for us and what's not, what is perhaps habitual behaviour, automatic reactions, and stuff left over from the past, of course, which tends to obscure the truth of what we're looking at, who we're being with. So the work would still seem to be on the emotional level, on the level of relationship, especially because Venus is in Virgo, sextiling the Mars, so pulled into that kite shape. Within this kite shape, Jupiter is exactly opposite Pluto. So once again we have this opportunity to make changes, to grow and expand in ways that permanently develop us. I find myself thinking mostly about the Saturn because of its closeness to the North Node, as though Saturn is calling the tune at present for us all. And what we locate when we go inside to discover our own truth tends to be the fears that get in the way of expressing that, and how we deal with those. Saturn's beautiful connection to Neptune suggests that we are very susceptible to what's really happening on that level, and also that if we will surrender to the spiritual side of ourselves, to the spiritual nature of all life, we will actually be shepherded along, taken care of, shown what we need to know, helped over the stiles and the hurdles. The connection between Chiron and Pluto, Chiron and Jupiter and Mars, seems to suggest that it's the depths of the old pains that we're dealing with. This is a chance to clear an enormous amount of karmic stuff that may have been getting in our way, slowing us down. Part of this whole work that we're doing is to recognise what the truth of ourself is in terms of the personality. Our deepest real truth is that we are one with all things, made of the same stuff, as it were, all love, really. But in this incarnation we have a personality, and there are limitations, and life offers us limitations. Not as an obstacle course, but perhaps as a way of enabling us to be creative on the material plane. I wanted to draw your attention to a lovely 10-minute talk given by Phil Hanson on one of the TED Talks, and I've put a link to it on my website in the New Moon letter, where he speaks of embracing the limitation and what it's done for him as an artist. It is said that necessity is the mother of invention, and I think it's not just a phrase. Somehow using our limits, rather than feeling limited by them, enables us to achieve things that perhaps we always wanted to achieve, but thought we had to have some other skill to actually manifest it. Thinking like that is a very non-creative thing to do. It's our assumption that things can only be one way that is our true limitation. But what we find when we go inside is an endless number of ways of dealing with our painfulness, our vulnerability, the smoke screens, the distractions, the withdrawals that leave us feeling cut off. All an effort to avoid a pain which we think we will suffer. The kite shape in the chart is calling us to go by our feelings and not our thoughts. Mercury is still in Cancer this month, and being unaspected, I had this happy thought that perhaps we could use that. It means that when we get into our heads, and bearing in mind Cancer is the emotions, so it's focusing, as it were, on our feeling sense, our empathy with life, that when we focus there, none of the other planets are interfering. So perhaps we can practice holding that open, receptive focus on the life around us and learning how to be in relationship simply with the moment. At the full moon, Mercury will be much closer to the Sun, so, as with last month, perhaps a bit clearer understanding of what this self we've been looking for really is. They are opposite to Moon and Neptune, so potentially being ourselves and connecting with the sensitive wisdom, the greater wisdom. Venus at that time will have moved into Libra. She goes into Libra on the 16th of August. So an encouragement to go for the harmony that there can be if one is true to oneself, without judgment and without judging others, allowing others be who they are. Dawn, a softening of darkness in the east, breathless growing of vision, the first stirring of birds, a fluttering sense of waking life, growing light and deeper breath, and finally the splinter of brilliant gold shooting rays into heaven and earth, a wave of energy rippling over the land, growing warmth from the dazzling orb, lighting all things, returning colour and purpose. So rises spirit to my waking soul, to live this day in harmony with all life, in love and gratitude.